I'm Kate. I'm a cancer rehab specialist and a holistic therapist. I also have breast cancer. I go for my mastectomy next week, so I wanted to share with you the prehab exercises I'm doing to actually help you understand where you are with your range of movement, and then this will actually help you with your rehabilitation post-surgery. So if you've got a PICC line or a port inserted with any of these movements, please ensure you only work to where you are comfortable. But also understanding your body at the moment is a great way of actually working with it so that after surgery we can do the best for our bodies that we possibly can. So we're going to look at everyday functional range of movement today. We're not going to overcomplicate it. It's all going to be simple things that you do on a day-to-day basis, but we just need to know where we are. So for example, we have an overhead reach. Now an overhead reach for something that you get off a shelf or out of the cupboard or out of the wardrobe is something we do every day, but we never really take any notice of how our shoulders work when we actually do these movements, but also how it affects our chest. And this is where we need to understand really. So I'm going to turn to the side and I'm going to show you the overhead reach from the side, because a normal range of movement, and you have to remember I've been practicing this, so I am a little bit more fortunate that I have full range of movement. So we're going to bring the arm up and it'll slice through the ear. So it's coming to the top and it's managing to function. We've got no strain through the back or through the tummy being pushed forward or the back being arched. So we're just drawing the arm up and it comes up nice and easily. There's no strain there at all. Now your range of movement may be different, so just go to where you're comfortable. So for example, we may only get to range of movement to come level with the shoulder, but that's okay. It's understanding where you are, not where I am. So an overhead reach is a really lovely one to do. You can practice that lying on the floor as well with a pillow behind you if you haven't got such good range of movement. But if you have got good range of movement, actually allowing the hand to come up and over onto the floor and allowing 3 nice deep breaths, and that will actually allow that muscle to just relax a little bit more easily and get a nice stretch coming through the chest and the armpit as well. So another thing that I found with my clients is getting jackets on after surgery, getting cardigans on, hoodies, coats, all of the above is really quite difficult, and that's because we don't practice this much. So putting your arm behind your back, you think it's quite simple, but actually when you've had surgery it is one of the most difficult things to do because our shoulders are affected as well as our chest. So a little practice to do, I'm going to turn around for you. A little practice is just popping the hand up to mid-back. You can get both up as well, even better. So again, thinking about your own range of movement, if you can just get the arms to behind the back and hold them just on the hips, brilliant. If we can go further, just edge it up gently. Don't force it, just nice and gentle, see how far you can get. Another thing, I know I haven't got any hair at the moment, but I used to have a ponytail. Another thing for self-care is actually looking after our head, our scalp and our face. So being able to bring the arms up. So again, I'm going to turn around because I'm going to show you how to massage your neck as well. So basically, bringing your arms from your sides, just see if you can tap to the head, the neck and forward to the forehead. So see how that range of movement feels now. And see if you can do it with both hands. So neck, back of head, forehead. So how does that feel at the moment? Sometimes we will need to support our arms. So if we're moving, we can actually support with the elbow, bring the arm up. So I'll come to the side again. Help and support. So we don't necessarily have to try and do things with one arm. We can actually help and support with the other arm to get that range of movement. So that will actually help. If you're looking at being able to open doors, pushing and pulling is really important. So if you've got a fire door or a shop door in front of you, being able to understand how much energy you need to push or to pull a door is really good. So again, I'm going to stand to the side, I'm going to try a little push forward. How does that feel? One arm at a time. Go forward with the arm and see if you can pull back. So a push, and then a pull. How does that feel? Now you can add some mental weight to this, so you can pretend you're pushing through sand, and that will just activate the muscles a little bit more and make it a little bit more difficult. And you can pretend you're pulling on an elastic band, and again that just makes it a little bit more difficult and a little bit more real, so you can practice that without the actual door in place. Brilliant. Seatbelts, another thing that we need on a daily basis. So when we're sat in a car, we're quite restricted through the torso, so we need to be able to reach the arm back on an angle. So reaching back to pull forward, reaching back to pull forward. Now the reason I'm looking forward instead of looking to the side each time is because I'm mimicking the fact that you can't turn your torso when you're in the car very well because of the car seat. So it's always good to try and practice with the head facing forward, so it restricts your torso movement as the car seat would. So other things that we do movement wise, we lift our arms to the side and back down again. We circle our arms if we do Tai Chi. It's a really lovely way of movement. We can circle our arms forwards and backwards, but again, thinking about those PICC lines, the ports. So what is my range of movement at the moment? If we can't circle the arm, that's absolutely fine. We don't need to circle the full arm. We can bend the elbow and just do a little bit of a circle so that the shoulder is still moving and the chest is moving as well. So forwards and backwards. Doesn't have to be a full arm movement. It can just be a shoulder circle, just to keep that lovely movement through the shoulders. Now, another thing that I think is important to look at is actually stretching. So scar tissue, once you've had your surgery and your surgeons say it's okay for you to start stretching the scar sites, so whether you're having a single mastectomy or a double mastectomy, it's about making sure that you're comfortable with actually getting the range of movement once you've had the surgery, to ensure that the scar tissue becomes more malleable, and it also helps with the movement through the shoulders as well as the chest wall. So a really lovely way of just starting this off to stretch is stretching upwards by little shoulder rolls. So getting some shoulder rolls moving, because you can temper these shoulder rolls into really small movements or really big movements. So it's a really lovely way of getting to know that my shoulders are moving. It's also quite relaxing as well. It's a really nice way of warming up those shoulders and getting that movement. So a lovely way of doing it is bow and arrow. I love this move because it actually gives me something to focus on and pretending that I'm medieval and getting that lovely bow and arrow movement. So the hands are coming to the front. You can actually do this with your elbows bent and have the hands down lower if it's too much to have it at the shoulder level. But we're going to pull back, aim that arrow, pull back with that bow, and then release. Pull back. So you'll notice my torso isn't turning again, but it's a lovely stretch across the pectoral, the muscle underneath the breast, but also through the armpit as well. So it's a really, really lovely stretch. I'm going to do it down lower, so you can still do it lower if needs be, and get the same level of stretch through the chest and the chest wall. I'm an imagination girl, so I love having that actual bow and arrow in my hand. So I'll just turn and do it the other side for you. So arms come to centre, pull back and release, pull back. So it's a lovely way of getting the lymph moving as well. So the more we can get this chest opening and closing, the better it is for our lymph movement, and that will help with repair with the scars and surgery sites on here. So chicken wings is another favourite. You've got a simple version, which is hand on hips, and you've got a more complicated and harder version, which is hand on hips. So I'll take you through the simple version first. So hands on hips, we're going to bend the elbows And all we're going to do is open up the chest by bringing those elbows back, and then opening up the back by bringing them forward. Open up the chest, and then open up the back. So that's a nice easy one, and I'll show you what it looks like from the back. So we're opening up the chest and then closing. Now, the harder version is where you have your hands on your hips behind you, fingers pointing down, and then again you can open that chest even more and back in, opening up and back. So it's a lovely way of just opening that chest again. Always consult with your oncology team about post-surgery stretching, and I will try my best to put a rehabilitation exercise program up as soon as I've done my surgery and at the other side. So I wish you the best of luck on your journey. It's been lovely to talk to you and see you today.